Last Friday I couldn't because I was out of town, yada yada yada, nobody cares.
Hey, it's me again. Okay, so I know I just put out a video a couple days ago, a paint and ponder. This is another paint and ponder, but it's kind of from the vault, if you will. This was originally a video that was exclusive to my Patreon. May it rest in peace. So it's actually part 2 of the finishing a sketchbook in 10 days. So if you haven't seen that video, I will put the little eye, you know what I'm talking about. So you can click to that. And it's finishing the paintings. This one and this one. And so in this, I talk a lot about, because I filmed this in January of 2023, over 4 months ago, I was talking about my goals for the year and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of that kind of talk, but either way, I hope you enjoy it. And I want to be able to upload a video for you this Friday. Since
last Friday I couldn't because I was out of town, yada yada yada, nobody cares.
Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, my friends, my patron friends. It's Deb here. I'm gonna do a voiceover to this painting process video. It's a continuation from that finishing the last pages of my sketchbook video that I put out. So here we are actually painting it. I decided to put this on Patreon because I just thought otherwise that video was going to be 5 hours long. These two pages that I'm doing here, or rather 3 pages technically, because the whale page was a full spread. These took me, they were about an hour, more than an hour each in like video footage. So I definitely edited down a lot and sped up some of the process so that you do not have to sit there and watch 2.5 hours of painting. So anyway, let me say thank you for being here. I appreciate your support. And I feel like that sounded sarcastic, but I meant it. Today I'm having a day where my throat feels really tight. So I almost didn't do a voiceover. I thought maybe I'll just do music over this, but I'm pushing through it. I don't know what's up lately. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know what's going on here, but my throat is constantly feeling like it's fat, like my voice box or something got really puffy. It's weird. Anyway, I don't know what's going on here, but so we've got this mushroom lady here that I was taking a note from one of the YouTubers that I really like, Sandy Hester, if you haven't checked out her channel. Just taking a page out of her book in that it's okay to just paint over what you don't like and start anew, which is something that I would not have done in the past. I mean, once in a while I will scribble over something, paint over it, redraw it, but this time I was just like, if you watch that video of me finishing a sketchbook in 10 days, this particular drawing, when it was in the colored pencil form, was just, my brain was nagging me to redo this. I originally wanted to do it in gouache, and that's not why I decided to paint it in gouache. It's just that I really felt the need that I was like, this could look better. I didn't have like all the proportions completely right. I have a hard time drawing people. To draw someone's face or their profile, I mean, you've got to have proportions right. Otherwise, unless you're doing like a caricature or a cartoon, but it's like I can do it with animals, but with human faces, human heads, it's one of those skills that like in my new sketchbook that I just started literally yesterday, I really want to work on faces and heads and stuff. I do a lot of face and faces and heads, they kind of go together. I feel like saying like it's separate things, like their hands and feet. No, a face will usually be on a head. If it's somewhere else, we have bigger problems. We have many questions to ask. But when I'm drawing a face of someone, especially like when I'm making my greeting card designs and it happens to be like a celebrity, like a well-known face, it's like, okay, they're gonna know. The general public that sees this is gonna be like, that is not a good representation. That is definitely not their likeness. But so it's very time consuming when I'm drawing a face. I'm not doing the textbook technique that artists are using. I'm really just trying to go free for all. I'm just doing it the way I know how. And really I know there's a better way. I know there's actual proven ways to do this better. There are techniques out there. It's just that I never formally learned it. I didn't go to art school. I took some art classes in college, but I was never like a full-on art student. It was, but now with YouTube and stuff, it's like tutorials. They're all over the place. So I am going to explore that more this year. Let's put it down for 2023. Goals. Work on some faces. Heads and faces. Heads with faces on them. Because I need to. Also, I really want to work on things that are gonna, like test the boundaries of my comfort zone. By the way, I'm gonna probably talk over this whole thing. I figured I'll make this kind of a chatty little painting sesh. I hope that's okay. If this is driving you crazy, you can totally just listen to something else. You don't have to listen to my voice, and I won't blame you. I won't even know unless you tell me. So you can do whatever you want with this video. I feel awkward doing it. Like I said, I've got a throat issue happening, and I know how to ramble on for days. So what else was I going to say? Oh, about 2023. Yeah, I want to work on drawing things that are really expanding my skill set. So like, working on drawing hands, faces, proportionally correct human heads. I get into a rut of drawing the same thing over and over again. I know a lot of people do, but I really, I want to work on landscapes. I want to work on things that keep me excited. So, because I found myself yesterday, and I don't even know why I'm like picking on myself for it, but I'm like, once again, I'm drawing flowers. I'm thinking to myself as I'm drawing like in the first page of the new sketchbook I had. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. It was the first page and I just wanted to like get it done. But I do want to work on drawing some new things. But I just learned about Map Crunch. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this. So if you go to mapcrunch.com, or I'm sure there's an app and stuff too, it will just pick a random spot in the world and to give you a landscape. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. So I learned about it from Sophie McPike's Patreon. I was in the Discord there, and people were talking about it, and I was like, ooh, I want to check that out. So today I went on there. It took me to a place in Cambodia. It took me virtually. I flew over there, and then when I refreshed it, so I took some screenshots to save these different views. It was like a beautiful water view. And then the next place was this place called Naturelandia, which I was like, what? Is this a real place, or is this like a website that it took me to? It was like this gorgeous mountainous view. And it is a real place because I looked it up. I'm like, where is this? Because it was giving the name of like a province or something. And I was like, oh, I have no idea where that was. And it turns out it's in Spain. And it's a adventure amusement park, but not amusement park like we're thinking. I guess, well, whatever. It was really pretty, so I'm just rambling. I'm nervous and I'm rambling. If we ever get enough patrons to have me start a podcast, oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. Listen to me now. I'm a mess. All right, so let's talk about what's on the screen, because I'm done with my nonsense talk. So I actually did this drawing from a reference photo I found on Pinterest. And it wasn't like in a horizontal landscape form, it was more like portrait format. So I kind of expanded this, on my own here. But I gotta say, this spread, I was a little bit sad that I did it in a sketchbook. I'm like, I wish I had done this on a free, loose piece of like watercolor paper, which I have, like one that size. Because I'm really proud of how this turned out. I was really like, wow, I did it. And I did it with gouache, which is something I have been so frustrated by gouache in the past. And I finally was getting the hang of this. So that was really exciting for me. And on New Year's Eve, of all the days to do it, it's like, I was up for the challenge that day, because I thought, if I mess it up, because I thought I could do this in watercolor. I think watercolor is fairly simple in comparison. Gouache is it's tricky. It's not acrylic paint, it's not watercolor, but it can behave like both. And that's what's tricky about it. So anyway, I was just pretty pleased with how this turned out. 2 years from now, I'll probably be like, oh, this is junk compared to if I keep at this skill. But you know what? I'm going to say that in this moment, I was really proud of how this turned out. I'm not ashamed to say it. In several years from now, when I'm just a master at painting with gouache, I'm sure I'll have other things to say. No, I'm kidding. I think that this is, worth being proud of. I don't know what anyone else thinks. They might think it's crap, but I'm pleased. I was gonna say pleased as plum. That's not a saying, is it? I don't think so. Oh, so how is everyone's 2023 going so far? I had a really icky 2022 for the most part. But there were good moments, but there were some really, really intensely rough patches that were in there. But I was not sorry to see the end of that. I was not sorry to see the year come to a close. And 2023, I'm being cautiously optimistic, you guys. The last few years, and I think we can all agree, let's start with 2019 had been a tough year. We had a few deaths in the family, and it was rough. And so we were all like, 2020 is going to be better. Oh my gosh, 2020 is going to be great. Sadly, it started off really terribly with my father-in-law dying. So it's like, okay, that 2020, and we know what happened with the rest of 2020. I don't need to tell you that the world went to hell. But, it's like every time I felt like I was getting my hopes up about the next new year, because then 2021 was also a difficult year. And then 2022 was I don't know, out of the last 3 years, what was worse between 2019 and 2022. They all had their different challenges, and I'm not a negative person, so it's not like me to get really about every year and think it's going to be bad. But I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic this year. I'm not going to claim that this is my year. I'm over claiming that stuff. I just really want 2023 to be a kinder, gentler. I sound like George H. Bush right now, but just kinder, gentler. I'm looking for more balance. I want to really appreciate moments that are happening and stay in the present moment, and try to maybe keep a gratitude journal to keep track of all the good things, because when bad stuff happens and you're not focused on the good things, it's definitely, those things get lost in the sauce. So I think 2023 is just going to be a year of really balancing, staying in the moment, trying new things and challenging myself, and I don't know, just looking for some growth and good stuff, keeping my eyes peeled, my ears open. No. Do you keep your ears open? Keeping my ears available to hear good news? I don't know. This whole voiceover has been quite a mess. So my apologies in advance. But I'm just going to do this in one take. I'm not going to do this over again unless I lost the whole recording and it's compromised and I have to redo it. But if that's the case, I would probably just set this to music. So with that, I'm just going to leave you here. This is almost over. So hey, what'd you think? Was it worth the watch? If you have topics you want me to cover, please let me know. Leave a comment and let me know. I only have so many ideas rattling around in this head. So I'm happy to hear your questions and all that stuff. I'd love to know what you'd love me to talk about. I will be happy to provide entertainment. I don't know how else to say that. All right. I hope you have a great weekend and that you're doing well and that you create and make something fun or not, whatever. It's your life. I'm not the boss of you. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye.